Alright guys, Will Edwards here with UK Beef TV. Welcome back to the Best of Brit Bodybuilding show. Today we've got an awesome guest, Mr. Neale Cranwell. He's recently just got his WABA Pro card and he's Mr. Universe in 3 other federations. Neale, nice to meet you, mate.
How you doing?
Yeah, good man. Thanks for coming on the show. Guys, just a reminder, please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. We want to bring this content to you. We're trying to bring all the best bodybuilders in the UK for sit-down interviews like this. So please like, comment, share, subscribe. Neale, how you doing, man?
Good, good. Still going. 25 years later.
Yeah, 25 years later. That's what I want to just jump right into is that you've been doing this for quite a while. Let's just go right to when was your first competition? Do you even remember when it was?
Well, yeah, I mean, probably. So I've got told before by some of the newer competitors that I'm that dinosaur in bodybuilding, which I don't know how to take that, but I am, I suppose. I started, I'm 45 now, and I think my first competition I was 19, and that was in Australia.
Really?
So like when I was in my teens, I travelled around the world like you do, and I stopped in Australia for a year, and in Australia was the first time I pulled all the clothes off in my little Spanglies and thought, I'm going to embarrass myself, I'm going to do it the other side of the country and no one can see me. And that was where I got the kind of gusto to do it. But before I travelled, I'd worked as a like a gym instructor. I'd done them courses at the start, and I ended up travelling, running out of money, thinking, oh, I'll work in a bar or wait or whatever like people do. But there's loads of Brits doing that, so I ended up working in the gym, and this little gym in Sydney had a great owner. It's called the Mossman Gym, and his name was Rudy, and he pushed me into doing a competition. And I think for a lot of people, it takes a little nudge from someone you respect.
Yeah, so it's that confidence issue I think a lot of people have. You could have the physique, you could look good, but you just don't know if you kind of got that confidence to get on stage. So that's lovely. You had that kind of push from a young age, and that's what really got you into it. Because I mean, you've jumped to today. I mean, it's full-on career, isn't it? It's coaching, it's PTing, it's competing numerous times, and it's turned into a passion and a career for you.
Yeah, it's life now. It kind of channels my day every day. I wouldn't really know what to do. Without that goal of that purpose that has come from it. So, as much as it is hard and it's time consuming, and you've got to put a lot of time into something. I always look forward to that freedom after a competition of being a normal human being. Just eat as I fancy. Whatever. It lasts about 3 or 4 days, and then I'm lost. And I need the structure back. So I think it just fits my personality.
Well, I mean, for you, because you've competed so many times, it's you must just be following almost a strict diet year round. I mean, like you said, after a show, maybe you're kind of eating what you want. But is that how it is? Or are you just living that bodybuilder's lifestyle as far as, eating chicken and rice? I mean, obviously it's not chicken and rice every meal. But is that just how it is for you?
Pretty much. I mean, like if you ask my son what daddy does for dinner, he's on the chicken and rice. It's just easy to do, and
of course.
You can't really go too far wrong. Yeah, it is boring and dry. I don't think if you ask any bodybuilder that's been doing it a while, everyone hates chicken. It's dry, but it's easy to do, and it's not expensive compared to some of the other meals. And I kind of live that that lifestyle almost all of the time. Really, it started many years ago. I developed a really bad sort of case of IBS. Where I was in hospital with it, and then I had all the cameras up the old, none of that nice stuff. But unfortunately, with that come a lot of medication to suffer it down, and I realised I could treat a lot of it myself with just watching the food you eat
via diet.
So pretty much IBS is stress related or food related.
Of course, yeah.
So when I worked out what foods I ate, it kind of left me a bodybuilding diet. So. If I want to eat a pizza, I know I'm going to suffer that side of it. It don't stop me.
Yeah, I mean, it's still nice
me off a bit, but so I live it because it's easy. There's nothing worse than walking around feeling disgustingly bloated and upset stomach, all the time.
Nobody likes that,
No, so it makes life easy. So, and with time and as I've aged, my metabolism's changed a lot from when I started. And the diets I done back in the first days were very low carbs and sort of high protein, and when I started out, I thought that carbs were the enemy, and I think a lot of people do today.
That's a misconception a lot of people have. I want to make sure and get that message out there. Personally, I believe, and I know a lot of other people believe, you need carbs to grow. You know, you need carbs to feel good while you're training. You know what I mean? That's where a lot of brain fog comes from when people are on these crazy low zero carb diets going into shows and stuff like that. Which personally, I believe you can kind of keep carbs in the whole way, maybe at a minimal amount, and then obviously decrease and increase. So just get that message out there. A lot of people doing that zero carb bullshit for weeks. Not a big fan of that. Anyway, let's get back to the competitive side of things. When did you kind of start to realize that maybe you've got decent genetics, or you started doing good at shows? You know what I mean? Like when you started placing and getting trophies, and you know, kind of take me there a little bit.
So I just correct you. I've never actually thought I've got good genetics.
Okay.
I've always thought I can outwork my genetics by being structured with a diet or with a training plan and learning as much as I can. So it has kind of pushed me in that direction to be a better coach and a better bodybuilder, because I've had to adapt to it. I haven't been fortunate where I can just fly off the handle with a bit of food here and there and train willy-nilly. It has to be quite structured for me to step forward.
Okay.
So, but in saying that, I think there's a difference between like a really good gym physique, which is massively strong at maybe lifting weights and looking good in the tank top, and a really good stage physique, which don't necessarily look as amazing in the gym, but when they're stripped off, everything just fits together nicely. And that gym physique kind of gets lost on stage, whereas the stage physique really comes into its own.
I agree with that.
And I don't think people get to see that until you get stripped down to that point and get your ass on the stage. And I think I've realised that more than the genetics is actually, I've got not really got any weaknesses. So you put me on the stage, I kind of everything just fits together well. So nothing stands out and nothing's out of place. And therefore I just started placing very well. And I've only ever placed badly that I can recall once, and that was with NABBA, and I've done every federation. And I've always done all the federations, and I've never set myself sights on one. And I think you don't have to do them all, but if you're choosing the show, you guys out there, and you're thinking about doing your first show, you should look at the way the federations judge and the physiques that they go for, because your body will sit really well in certain federations. And NABBA are really known for mass and short, stocky, really like walnut looking bodybuilders. And if you're more slender and more of a classic physique, back in the day it was the EFBB, which was the UK BFF. They looked for, you weren't allowed to have any distension, and all of that was more important. So if you put yourself in the federation that suits your body, you start doing a lot better. And then I found that going internationally to Italy and Spain, which I've competed in a lot of times, is they look for the most peeled, shredded physique, more so than, say, the Eastern Bloc countries that look for real chunky physique. So I can get peeled and shredded by working hard, and like I said, and really being structured. So all of a sudden I'm in the right circle when I'm in them European competitions. So I spent a lot of my time, probably 50 or 60 competitions over that 25-year span in Europe, because I can get as grainy as them guys, and they're not massive, and so we all look like we're right for the federation.
So like you said to the viewers out there, I just want to make that point clear. Have a look on Instagram, look these feds up, see what kind of physiques the judges are looking for. So you don't just jump into not the wrong one per se, but maybe somewhere you don't belong necessarily when you're starting out. You want to get confidence, you want to fit in, you want to feel like you belong on stage, you know what I mean? So that's a very good point. I don't want to get like nitpicky and start saying this fed's better than that one or whatever, but since you've competed with all the feds like you said, I'd like to know kind of who's running the best shows, backstage, timings, all this. Is there one that's better than the other when it comes to that, or?
Well,
I mean, if you don't want to go there, you don't have to.
No, I'm going there. I'm going there. I've got no affiliation with any of them, although I do judge for the IBFA. So I will say that the judging's fair because I'm in it. Right, so that's one thing.
Well, you better keep it fair.
I mean, the IBFA are run by all bodybuilders or ex-bodybuilders with a long history and some big titles like champions such as world champions or Mr. Universes in their time, so they know the sport inside out. And they do put on a good show, and it is for the athletes. Don't make hardly any money. It's old school. It's like £10-15 to enter. It's like the back in them days.
Cool,
it's not 140 quid like some of these new federations. Two bros. Now, so what I'm saying is, so that's out there for people. You still compete and find the love without ruining like a mortgage for the month.
Because it's a passion for most people, isn't it? I mean, we love this. We love the diet. We love the training. You know what I mean? So why not just kind of go show it off? And maybe some people don't want to just make a whole career out of it, but they want to jump on stage a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd probably say that's really well run, that federation. I've always had a nice affiliation with the PCA because again that was run by competitors and they do put on a really good stage. There's a really good auditorium, so you feel like you've made it to a stage.
And saying the PCA, I am a fan of the level of physique over the years. I mean, it seems like their standard has been quite good. Seems like the judging's quite fair. I haven't been to a PCA show. I've been to some other federation shows, but I've always kind of from afar just kind of thought that they, you know, the level of physique at PCA shows was quite good. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, they came out and they were all the judges from the UK BFF, and they all had a to do and fell out, and then they split and they opened the PCA, and the judges that were the more friendly bunch, if you like, joined the PCA, and then they've put up all this prize money, and now they were giving back to the competitors, and like all of a sudden I was kind of reaching probably 15 years of competing, and I was thinking, I think I've scratched that itch now, and starting to feel it fade. And then all of a sudden there's 10 grand up to 50 grand, some of the PCA shows.
Wow.
And now all of a sudden my itch needs scratching.
Okay.
So I started competing with them and did win some prize money. And then once they got a lot of competitors on board, unfortunately the prize money then drifted away to zero.
Yeah.
So now they're bringing it back, thank God. Go on, PCA. But now this year they're bringing the money back.
Okay.
And I think that's important because we do spend a lot of money in it. And if you have been doing it a long time, it's not just a novelty. You know, you need something back, you know.
It's nice to get a little bit back. I mean, it's kind of just, it's the carrot on the end of the stick. It's nice to have a reward, like you said. You know, the trophy on the mantle and all that's nice as well, too, but a few quid doesn't, you know, hurt.
It does help, yeah. I mean, you're never going to win a fortune, but if you can pay for your competition and you end up, say, competing abroad and you win a few grand, then you can have a little holiday while you're there, take everyone out, you know, for dinner a few nights, and you feel like there's some, like, you know, recognition for all that hard work. So I'll probably say them two I've enjoyed the most. I've competed with UK BFF for years and years. We've always locked heads. I've been fined for 2 years by them for breaking the rules.
Okay.
Doing other federations.
Is that rule still on, or did they get rid of that?
I mean.
Yeah. Well, I know. I remember but the thing is, they hadn't really been putting much shows on, so I guess.
Yeah, since they split, I think they've brought that rule away now to get people back. But that was always the problem with them. And so I've always locked horns with them because I've done that, and I've been a bit of the bad egg, you know.
Like you said, you competed in all the feds.
Yeah. So. But I still competed with them, and got on side of them, went to the Arnold's with them, and they put on some good shows abroad as well.
Okay.
And now obviously Two Bros have kind of took that mantle where you can win your IFBB Pro card.
Of course, yeah.
That way. But what I will say for a lot of people out there that are into competing, maybe done a show or two, is don't just look in the UK. There's so many shows now in Europe and internationally that aren't expensive for you to go and enter, and it opens your eyes to a whole new world. Like, there's no point being a big fish in a small pond, because once you go over there you get kicked right in the nuts by the other competitors, and you bring your game up when you come back.
Of course, yeah.
The first time I went abroad I was shocked, and I thought I was okay in this country.
Okay.
I went abroad with my tail between my legs when I come back, and it made me pull it up a gear, and I think I won't go back out there. I'm not going to get overlooked again, because you're only as big as your goldfish bowl.
Of course, it kind of can ignite that passion again as well, can it?
Certainly. So there are big federations that are like in Germany. The NAC is a massive federation with a Mr. Universe and World Championship, which I've won. But that is a really hard competition. Okay. The standard's insane. They go for definition and cuts, and then WABA's massive internationally, especially through countries like Spain and Italy, and the standard's insane. The standard is insane. But in this country, them federations exist, but they're small. They're really small. And people don't realise where it goes to. I think they think, oh, it's just a small show. Yeah. But it's a stepping stone to where you need to go abroad.
And experience, and it does all sorts for you as well too, doesn't it? Yeah, I saw the lineup when you got your pro card there with WAB. It was a decent lineup there as well.
I mean, I had to double take that dude that announced my name.
I did see that video as well too. I seen you looking around like this, and like, oh, it's me. Yeah,
it's me. Like 25 years I've been that close. I mean, I've done the Two Bros the same year last year, and I won the heavyweights and then missed out in the overall. Like, I've had that so close to win it, sort of like pro card thing over the last sort of 10 years, and I actually, to hear him, I just wanted him to say it twice because I wanted to take it in again, you know.
So let me just ask you this quickly. You've done loads of shows. Did you ever have one time that was your absolute favorite look? I mean, just has there been one time, or has there been multiple times where you've kind of achieved that kind of peak look for yourself?
I'll probably say I haven't got one time that recalls, but in the last probably 5 years, so as I've got older, I just know it really well now.
Okay.
And in times gone by, I've done the zero carb, low carb thing, and it will get you in shape, but you kind of get a beach body soft look.
Okay.
And I used to kill myself and be starving hungry, think, why am I peeled? Why haven't I got that hard, grainy look? Till I realised, obviously, you need carbs to push the glycogen out onto the veins, onto the muscle, and then that shows that hard, crispy, grainy look. So it sort of, you know, it took me a while, probably 10 years of trial and error through the heartache of competing to work me out.
Wow.
Because this is before prep coaches, you know, we didn't have these they're out there now, and you know, we didn't have the luxury of prep companies to make you food. Like,
of course,
Like, if you can't compete now, there's something wrong with you. There's people that are doing it all for you.
Yeah.
You know, but in my day, you had to go Costco and buy, you know, weeks of chicken breast in bulk because it was so expensive, and you had to cook in bulk and all the rest of it.
So I just want to make that clear. He said it took 10 years for him to figure out the recipe for success, or how to get that look that you're kind of desiring and looking for. So I mean, that is a message for everybody to hear out there. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in 1 year. I mean, people are doing this for a long time before they figure out exactly what works for their body. You know.
Well, you know, see, the difference as well is back in my day, there was one pro card, one main federation, one chance per year of making it.
Of course.
Now there's 100 federations with 100 classes that fit everyone's body type. So you can be a classic pro, bikini pro, a wellness pro, goes on. Before, you was just a male or female bodybuilder. Unless you made it to that level, you ain't getting nothing. So it was a harder approach back then than it is now. I think people think that they can compete for a year and pick up a pro card the next year.
Yeah, that is kind of the mentality. So gaining all that knowledge now, that kind of assists you and helps you with your clients, doesn't it? Because you've been through everything, you know what I mean? So you kind of know when a client comes to you and this is happening or this is going on, you have a good idea of what you're doing and how to go about it then, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, in all that time I've prepped people as well. And when people first come to you, you have got to have like a feeler as like an idea of what diet would fit. And it generally comes from their body type and how they look, you know. In sort of generalised terms, I would look at someone, and if they're carrying more fat, they generally don't get to eat as many carbs. And if they're a leaner person that metabolism runs quite fast, they get to eat more carbs. And that's kind of the basis, and then you need to manipulate it to fit the person. I mean, there are a lot of coaches out there kind of got one diet that fits all, and it probably throws and sticks to about 60-70% of the population, and it does work if you fit that diet.
Okay.
But they won't fit the diet to suit you or the training plan to suit you. And I think that's what makes a good coach, is to have that amongst you in your arsenal, that if someone's come to you with this problem, or this training plan isn't working, or this exercise doesn't work, it's not like, we'll do it or don't bother, go away.
You've got an answer for it.
You've got to find a way of, you know, there isn't one best exercise for a certain body part. The best exercise, or the best form of cardio, or the best diet is the one you're consistent at. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. That's the secret.
That's the secret. Right, we've been waiting for it all along, and we just got it. So yeah, you're training clients out of Graftism and Monster Gym right now? Yeah. And I mean, those two are two great gyms, aren't they?
Good gyms, yeah. Lovely owners as well. I've known them for a long time.
Okay.
And I think the feel of the gym's kind of brought into new people if it's run well by the owners.
Of course,
and they're great owners. So that's Nadj at Graftism and Steve and Angie at Monster.
Yep, shout out to you guys, yeah.
You know, they've had my back for forever and sponsored me to work there or train out of there, because, you know, you used to shout out your gym when you got on stage. It was a big thing. It would help get your gym in magazines and stuff like that. Like UK Beef, if your magazine and your gym was in the UK Beef, you know, the gym owners were getting some kudos and they were happy by it. So I work out there. I'm also training at Rip Gym in Basildon with Warren Booty, and that's just because I live that way, and that's just an amazing gym. Again, they're really friendly and welcoming there. And it's just one of the nicest, sexiest gyms in the southeast, probably.
Yeah, lots of kit in there. Just
loads of kit. Yeah, it's nice and cool. They've got everything you need and more, and they're always updating it. And you can go to the toilet without a tetanus injection, you know?
That's always nice. Yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
So let's hit on your diet. Are you off season right now, or what's going on?
So you've actually now offended me by saying that.
So, no, I'm just trying to, give a little info here to the viewers. So, guys, I'm not having to go at him here.
So here I'm just starving up. My stomach's grumbling. You can't hear it, but no. So I'm 6 weeks from the PCA finals.
Okay, so
their British finals is coming up. I won my class last year, which gave me an automatic entry to do the one this year.
Okay.
Which I think is important, and I think all the federations should do that. Some don't, and make you repay the following year.
Okay.
If you're the winner of the class, you're good enough to be in there the following year.
Yeah, I've seen that. Some feds give an invite, but they still want you to kind of pay for registration and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't mind paying for registration. That's what helps the federations go along, as long as it's not extortionate. And if they can bring some prize money back to the competitors because there is a registration, then fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that one in 6 weeks, and then the international shows open for me after that, like WABA and NAC.
Okay, yeah.
Then Mr. Universities are both towards the end of the year.
Okay. So that stacks up kind of nicely for you then, doing the PCA and then having that, So what? Okay, obviously, so he's not in off season. He's prepping. He's 6 weeks out. What does that diet look like then on a daily basis? Kind of give me a quick rundown if you can.
So it's really simple. I think simplicity works best because you haven't got to worry too much about it. I don't rotate days if I do a high day or a low day. I have done that in the past. That does work. I think the best way to diet is carb rotating for a lot of people out there, because the body doesn't get stuck with a certain type unless you've got fast metabolism, and if you take carbs out with that metabolism, you end up losing and flattening out, losing too much weight.
Yeah.
And my body runs quite fast now. It didn't when I started 10 years, 20 years ago. Okay. But I won't diet than less than say 4,000 calories in the diet. So if I sort of joked I'm hungry, I'm not. It's just boring food.
You said you're dieting on 4,000.
Yeah.
Wow. See, again, everybody's different.
Yeah.
I mean, that's proper off-season bulk for a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So my off-season would be 5,500 calories to hold weight.
Yeah.
So if I come down anywhere from that, I can lose weight and just add some cardio. But my cardio is really low intensity, because any high intensity just downsizes my legs. But these things you find with the individual.
Again,
some people have got hammer the stairmaster. Some people, if they do that, their legs disappear. You've got to find what works for the person.
And that's why I'm a fan of pushing calories high in the off season, because then, like you said, if you're at 5.5 or 5, you can diet on 4 or 4.5. You're going to lose weight, and you're still eating loads of food. You're not starving yourself. So that's the advantage of, when people say force feeding or pushing up high, and you're changing that metabolic rate and all that. It can have a great benefit, like you said, because you're not eating 2,000 calories and just wondering where the food's at.
Yeah. I mean, probably about 15 years ago, I worked with a coach. I've worked with a few coaches myself, just because I got to a point where I've learned all I can myself, and I feel like there are other coaches that I could perhaps learn from and take that angle to bring excitement into my prep when you've been doing it so long.
Okay.
So I've used a few big names from America, like Milos Sarcev.
Okay, yeah.
John Meadows, rest in peace.
Oh man, love that guy. Yeah, man, seriously.
I mean, them two are always two of my idols, so I've always wanted to work with them. I'd worked with them both for about a year.
Okay.
And then I've worked with a couple of UK guys. Eddie Abu was my very first
old school IFBB pro, isn't it?
Yeah. And he was back in the day of the Active Channel. He's one of the other presenters with me on that.
Okay.
But he's got a really hard training mentality, so Eddie will train you really hard and diet you really basic. And I think for me, things have moved forward there. You don't have to be as basic with your diet. And I've also worked with one coach called Nathan Harmon, because he was the coach of the day back in 15 years maybe. And what I learned from Nathan was he made you force feed your metabolism to work with you.
Okay.
We ended up falling out, me and Nathan, but who hasn't? Because that's Nathan for you.
Okay.
Much love, Nate, for listening. But no disrespect, we get on now, okay. But that's the way that happens in this bodybuilding world. We're all like old women over a fence that just gossip.
Yeah.
And kind of that lives in it, unfortunately. But we get on okay now. But I did learn from him, and so I'll always give him kudos for that. He taught me to force feed, to the point where he'd come and watch me and make me every meal to the last mouthful when I'm already stuffed, and I've never ate so much food in that up to that point with him, and then from then I realised actually I can eat a ton of food and I'm getting leaner, where I was trying to starve myself and stress my body. By allowing it to take the stress away and give it the food that it wants, it was just happening for me.
Okay.
So again, that don't work for everyone, and it doesn't work if you're fat. Right?
Course, yeah.
Without being rude,
Yeah,
if you're holding body fat and you eat a lot of food, you're just going to get fatter. But if you're getting leaner and you give yourself more food, it's like you're putting wood on a fire.
Yeah.
It flames.
So you still took something from that experience.
Yeah.
You know, working with him, you learned something that you needed moving forward for your body as well there, didn't you?
Yes. I mean, so that's probably stuck with me for 15 years, that way to eat. And then you manipulate, as you get to know yourself, the best way to fit, you know, the diet for you. So he was all about eating tons of food, doing excuse my French, loads of cardio, high intensity.
Yeah,
high intensity cardio for long duration. It was a killer, 2 hours of HIIT.
Oh wow,
like, nasty.
Jeez.
And you're doing it with your stomach out because you're eating so much. It's just not pretty.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously, common sense to me just made me think, well, if I eat that bit less, I can do that little bit less cardio. And there's still the happy medium, the calories in, calories out kind of negate.
Yeah.
Without you being uncomfortable. So, and that's kind of where I fell to. But my sort of typical day in prep 6 weeks is the first 2 meals are steak.
Okay.
The next 2 meals are chicken. The last 2 meals are fish.
And is there carbs and how
there'll be carbs in all the meals.
Okay.
And then when I get a sticking point, I reduce the carbs at the last meal of the day.
Okay.
When I get another sticking point, I reduce the carbs at the first meal of the day.
So just 1 meal at a time like that, monitor the situation, yeah?
And then that's as low as it goes. The carbs stay in all the other 4 meals out of 6.
Okay.
And then after them 2 meals are adjusted, if things get stuck again, the cardio goes up. But that's just like fast power walking.
And so how much cardio is there right now then, 6 weeks out?
So it's about 45 minutes. I do about 45 minutes of a fast walk fasted. I'm still old-fashioned in that belief that cardio done on an empty stomach seems to burn more fat off your body, which I've learned it's not touted that way necessarily.
Again, but you found that works for you.
Found it works for me.
There you go.
And like my thought process, if you do cardio any other time, you're just going to burn off the meal you had that's still digesting prior to you doing it.
And the comfort levels, like you talked about too, empty belly, you know, you just get it done in the morning, that kind of thing.
I mean, like bodybuilding for competition is about reducing body fat. For performance, having carbs prior to cardio makes complete sense. But if you just want to get body fat off, being in an empty state makes sense. So if I have to do a second bout of cardio, which sometimes happens if you're trying to make a weight class, which I will do at times, I'll do a second bout of cardio after the last meal of the day, so which doesn't have carbs in. So that's, you know, and then I'll wait a few hours after, so it's pretty much empty, and there's no actual energy food in there apart from the protein. It'd be like protein and salad that last meal.
Okay.
So I kind of do it like that. But so the meals that have got carbs in are high in carbs, and then the meals, if I take the carbs away, they'll just have, I'll replace them with a little bit of fat. Like I'll change whitefish to salmon, and I'll add a couple of whole eggs to the breakfast if I remove the carb.
Okay.
But I'm not a high fat man either. So I'm under the belief that you either eat carbs and protein, or you can eat fat and protein if you want to lose weight.
Okay.
If you want to gain weight or want it to stick, you do need to add some fats to the carbs to make them stick, or they burn through. But in a nutshell, I've found with all the clients I've worked, this simplest way for majority of people to lose weight is don't combine fats and carbs in the meal.
Okay.
If you can do that, you're taking away a third of the macronutrients, but it doesn't slow the digestion of that meal down, because one will slow the other down, and it'll go through you, and you need to feel empty. You need to feel that little hunger pain if you're trying to lose weight. You can't be full and lose weight. Not really. You need to.
I've never really came across anybody that feels great when they're dieting and they're on lower calories. Usually, if you're in a diet, you're gonna feel, you know, a little bit lethargic and low energy and feel hungry. If you're not hungry, then you're probably not in a deficit.
Yeah, I just tell my people that I work with that you've got to turn that hunger pain into a different thought process, a positive. It's your body eating body fat, it's your body burning calories, and it's you getting leaner. So push that boundary another half an hour before you eat, or another hour. Like really get that stomach growling, and you will get leaner if you do that.
Yeah, you will.
Okay, so one thing I've learned is if you're hungry and on a diet, the best thing to do is after your final meal, take it to bed with you, or go straight to bed after, because it's that bit that follows the final meal where you're thinking about picking that undoes a good diet normally. So I'll often take my last meal to bed, and I know people say you shouldn't eat too much before you go straight to sleep. but it is about the calories over the course of a day. If I sit there and think, I'll wait 2 hours for it to digest before I go to bed, the biscuit jar's calling, you know?
Yeah, I've been there before, and I'm laying in bed and the stomach's growling, and you're not going to sleep.
No,
you know, you're
exactly.
not going to sleep. And then I end up drinking loads of water to try and offset it. And I'm weighing myself in the morning, and then my weigh-in that morning is inaccurate because I'm trying to track that weight loss, and all of a sudden it's a kg heavier, and so it just can affect all sorts of different stuff. I want to get your opinion on where the UK bodybuilding scene is as a whole right now, as you're going, you know, traveling to different gyms, PTing at different gyms, competing in different feds and all that. You probably got a decent feel of where it's at. Do you think it's kind of catching a bit of fire and getting a bit more popular? Is it still very niche? I mean, where's UK bodybuilding as a whole for you? What's your opinion on that?
I mean, I miss the days that it was very niche. I think it's very far removed from niche now. I think it's hugely mainstream. And anyone that's on Instagram is some Insta fit person now because it's fashionable.
Yeah.
So I think like there's so many gyms have popped up, businesses have opened because there is a demand of people, but it's not for the reasons that they used to be when it was a niche, for this wanting to become a better version of you. It's almost just for the fame or to video yourself in the gym. Like, I think it's I think it's definitely growing, and I think the UK pro bodybuilders are doing fantastically amazing, and that's carrying bodybuilding back into the you know, the light now in the UK.
Ashes and the Hollingsheads and all these guys.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, Ryan John Baptiste. There's a few of them that are just kind of representing the UK well right now, and I mean, I'm loving that part of the whole thing.
I mean, like we've never had it so good. We've only really ever had 1 or 2 really good pros. Now we've got a good handful of pros, so it is exciting to see where they'll all come. So I think that's fantastic, and I think like as a previous gym owner, I owned a gym in Waltham Abbey called Crunch for 15 years. It's fantastic for independent gyms because you've got a bigger niche of audience that want to come and join your gym.
Of course,
and the facilities, hence why so many gyms have popped up. So I think it's pushed fitness into like the day-to-day. I mean, now you can get a protein bar in Sainsbury's or a petrol station. Like, these things weren't about because it wasn't that mainstream. So I think it is more mainstream, but I do miss the cloak and dagger underground side that used to be around.
Before we go, I want to ask if you want to promote anything, but just let everybody know, we've said, you know, personal training, prep coaching. I mean, you're doing all sorts. His info will be in the description. Get a hold of him Instagram if you're interested in working with Neale. Before we go though, if you want to promote anything, and I want to know, do you have a message for anybody that's just getting into bodybuilding and fitness, just any kind of basic advice to just kind of begin and run with that you know you would tell yourself when you started back in the day?
To be honest, the best advice I'd give there is if you can find someone that you respect and would perhaps like to look up to, like has got the physique you'd like to be, and someone that's been through the experience themselves, they've got to a high level and done it for a good amount of years, that they have a knowledge base. Why waste many years of trial and error yourself, like fiddling around and getting it wrong year after year, when you could go to someone that's got the answers because they've already done it. Now, I done that. I fiddled around, like, easy, that's what she says. Now, I fiddled around for a while getting it wrong. Like I said, it took me 10 years. And then the best thing I done was went to see my first coach. I used Eddie Abu because he was a world experienced bodybuilder, and he had all the answers. And even to the technique in the gym, you know, and so I think like it's not an embarrassing thing to go to someone for aid or for help because it's all the knowledge, but it probably save you 3 or 4 years of trial and error.
So in a nutshell, go get a coach if you
come get me.
Wonderful interview. Anything you want to promote as far as anything you want to mention or any message you want to get across?
I mean, you've mentioned already, so I do personal training at Monster and at Graftism, so they're 2 different locations, Watford and Cheshunt, and also started doing some posing workshops. But we're going to start very soon with Warren Booty. He's another huge bodybuilder in the
great guy that I interviewed as well, so make sure and watch that interview.
And that's going to be done at Rip Gym in Basildon, so there's a great chance they've got a wicked posing room, and you know, if you really like...
so UK Beef TV will be catching up with you guys, filming some training and some posing, I believe. So so look out for that in the future, guys. Well, Neale, it's been a pleasure. Wow, wealth of knowledge. Love some of that stuff we got from you there. So this is Will Edwards for UK Beef TV. This is Best of Brit Bodybuilding Show. Again, like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your mates, watch the video, leave it playing even if you're not watching it, get us some views. We're trying to build this channel. We're interviewing the best UK bodybuilders, guys like Neale that have been there, done that. Hit him up if you need to ask any questions. You know, he's been there, done that. Just like he said, hire a coach. It will benefit you, and we'll be back next time with some more great athletes and some more great interviews.